people on the internet have something to say about Coachella. But have these people actually even been to Coachella? From a girl who's DJ'd, Gobi stage, and performed on the Do Lab, I want to talk about the amenities, I want to talk about the performances, I want to talk about my favorite and worst moments of 2025, and I want to talk about all the hate that one of the richest festivals in the world is getting and why I think it's happening. First off, I'm Smiles Davis. Welcome to my channel. I talk about all things music and culture. I am so excited to talk about this subject because let me tell you, I am a Coachella optimist. I've been to dozens of Coachellas live. I've speaker hugged. I've traversed the polo fields up and down and all around. I know the backstage. I know the inside of the field like the back palm of my right finger. I know the ins and outs of this festival probably better than anybody you will ever meet on the internet. And let me tell you, I feel like I'm an expert and a woman who can speak on it truthfully and honestly with a discerning eye. And I can tell you that my personal favorite things are still some of my favorite things about this festival. The first thing that I absolutely love about this festival, hands down, is that it brings people together. You will never ever go onto the polo fields and not catch a friend on your way out. You will never ever leave the polo fields and not think to yourself, wow, I made a friend today because of X, Y, and Z. We shared a moment. We had a shared experience watching J Balvin, watching Thievery Corporation, watching MIA. So these are some of my favorite performances from Coachella over the years. And that is generally one of the best things about Coachella. You get to see some of the best, most prolific performers ever, anywhere, on any stage, all in the same spot. And that is a beautiful thing. Coachella wins hands down at that, and you've got to give them credit for doing it year after year after year after year, holding on to a brand that is so strong, globally recognized, and still leading the charge in the festival space. Now, there are a lot of critiques coming in nonstop about said festival. And I think personally, a lot of this has come off of the heels of the pandemic. You see Coachella close its doors and the polo fields for 2 straight years. Now this is crippling. This would nearly be catastrophic for any brand of any size. So as a result, you see a multitude of things happen as they emerge back again in 2022 after a 2-year hiatus. Number 1, lower ticket sales. What is the biggest cause for low ticket sales in 2022? It's not the lineup. It's not that Coachella as a brand has diminished in any way, shape, or form. It's that people as a whole have decided that, hold up, we were just in lockdown. We were all just terrified to be shoulder to shoulder in a grocery store. I don't want to be seen in a large crowd. I don't want to be immersed. I'm not ready mentally, spiritually, or emotionally to be immersed in a crowd of this size, of this magnitude, on any scale at all. So you see a decline in ticket sales for that reason mainly, and that reason mainly alone, okay? And then you have a multitude of individuals who may be struggling to come back into their own professionally. They may be struggling to come back into their own on a financial level. And so spending excessively is just not on their radar. Coachella is so far from people's peripheral at that point in time. And so you just see over the years leading up to 2025, the slow decline in people paying attention to what anything is going on, but what they see in their homes and their family setting. As a result of the declining ticket sales, you see a boom in what? Influencer culture. Because brands now recognize that they need to align themselves with an arsenal of individuals who, at the click of a button, can expose these brands to millions of people. So you start seeing more and more influencers reporting from the field, doing their TikToks, doing their YouTubes, getting paid to be there. And it is a paradigm shift that comes swiftly all across the internet. You see a multitude of outlets and media companies posting images of individuals who are out on the polo fields having a good time, who are generally not or ever have been affiliated with music. Just a slew of beautiful, young, hip individuals with massive followings and bohemian outfits. I think that from a Coachella purist, that might be hard to watch and daunting to see, because you think that your favorite festival is turning a new leaf and attracting a certain clientele that maybe doesn't share the same core values as you do. And so I think that is where a lot of the critique and the backlash and the dogging is coming from, is because generally speaking, a lot of us do not align ourselves with these sort of individuals. We see them on the internet and we're like, kudos, good to you. But are they musically, culturally grounded in the same sense that a lot of the Coachella concert goers are? Maybe not. Maybe not. And is that Coachella's fault? I don't think so. I think that Coachella aligns itself with brands like Red Bull, like Heineken, like Revolve, who has its own festival outside of Coachella. But what happens is all of these brands have tickets that they need to give away to their performers, to their artists, to the influencers that are there covering their events. And as a result, all these people come into Coachella and onto the fields, and they share the space with all the other concert goers, but they illuminate in a way that maybe some of the other people feel small. They illuminate in a way that, make all the other people feel small and not as visual and seen. And it doesn't feel like a shared equal space or community with the same goals and the same intentions. Suddenly it feels like the influencers take precedent. They have VIP, they have access that the normal concert goers don't. And it just feels like a shift that makes some people more uncomfortable than the haves versus the have-nots. And so I think that is where a lot of the critique is coming from. I personally loved to see several artists performing this year. Megan Thee Stallion was one of my favorites. Prodigy was unbelievable. High Tech, 10 out of 10. I loved Big X the Plug. Lola Young, oh my goodness, darling, you are just breath of fresh air. I cannot wait to see where your career goes, honey. Yes. Rema, Amaray, I really enjoyed being on my couch, not exerting any energy, but fully enjoying the show. 10 out of 10. My issue with Coachella this year really lied on the malfunctioning sound systems. My girl Bambi got booted out of her slot because the sound system on the Do-Lab stage was not working. So she went from performing around 3 or 4 o'clock to having moved her slot down to 10 o'clock. And I think she was a bit embarrassed because she had people showing up. And I think she just felt, as an artist performing at Coachella, even though it was a Do-Lab stage, that if you're not going to be paying your artists to perform on the Do-Lab stage, then the least you could do is have a working sound system. And I totally agree. There's absolutely no reason that there are not enough staff members to execute and exchange or move gear around so that you have a functioning sound system on any stage at any given moment, literally in a blink of an eye. Because that is how much staff there should be at one of the richest festivals in the world. It should literally happen that quickly. And I don't feel like she felt like she was being seen or heard or taken care of in the manner that she should have been. And, she spoke on it. Resident Advisor reposted what she said in her stories on Instagram. And it's created a conversation, and there should be conversations about these things and how that there can be room for improvement. That is just what any festival should expect, to grow and to evolve based on their complaints that they're receiving from their artists. And that is just what Coachella should expect. The other issue that I had was Big X the Plug had sound issues. Megan Thee Stallion's mic was cutting in and out during her performance. And then it seemed to me that they cut her 2 minutes short. I don't understand why any festival would cut any artist short in that manner, especially 1 degree away from headlining. To me, it just seemed like they were rushing her off the stage so that they could quickly flip it over and get ready for Post Malone. Why would you do that, A, to a woman of color who was beautiful in bringing out some of the most legendary artists, female artists ever. She had Queen Latifah, she had Ciara, she had Victoria Monet up there. I mean, it was just Queen's paradise. And her set was cut short in a moment that should have been so rewarding and glorifying for her. To reach that moment so close to the actual headliner for Megan Thee Stallion, that moment was hers. And I just feel like it was kind of taken away from her to end it gracefully. And yeah, I don't even know if an apology from Coachella is necessary. It's just like, do better. Like, why cut her short? If she could have even just finished the song that she was playing in that moment, I think we would have not been so up in arms about it. But because the song cut midway through, for the crowd that was actually there, for me, I was watching on YouTube and I was watching TikTok live from somebody holding up their phone. And the YouTube, you could hear the audio keep going, but the TikTok live, I could clearly see what everybody on the polo field saw. And I thought that that was highly offensive. And I just think that Coachella needs to do a better job of elevating all of the artists' voices, making sure there's working sound all across the field. And, you know, yeah, do better. The last thing that I want to speak about are the amenities. I've seen some videos online talking about camping out. Listen, I've been that girly. I've camped out at Burning Man. I've camped out on my family's land up in Michigan. I've done all sorts of glamping here in the state of California. I know a little bit about setting up my own tent and all of that jazz. If you are a girl who likes her things and likes her niceties, don't camp out. If you have a van or an RV, 10 out of 10. That experience can be very rewarding. You can have core memories locked with your friends, cooking in your own little kitchen, using your own little bathroom, using your own little shower. But if you are a girly who likes adventure and likes it a little rough, then by all means, camp out. Just know that the toilets and the showers are shared and that you are going to be on the field for an entire weekend sweating, gesticulating, and just being sticky and wanting to get clean. And it's really hard to do that in a shower that is not only yours. Okay. When I camped out, I would go shower at my friend's house a couple minutes up the road because that's just how I felt clean. I know I'm a girly who likes my things. I camped out in a van with a mattress. I had, you know, shield from the elements. And if I needed to feel sensual, if I needed to feel like I was preserving my essence, like I said, I would just go to my friend's house to use the toilet or take a shower, and that made my experience far more enjoyable because I was not finna shower in no public shower. No, ma'am. I would have just not showered. I would have just taken a jug of distilled water and did a 1-2 splashy washy, and it would have been deuces. Deuces. Okay. Coachella, you're doing an amazing job. Is there room for an improvement? Absolutely. But like any festival, there's always going to be a lesson learned. And here, I think it was, let's take the influencer culture down a notch and bring up our respect for music and sound system in particular up a notch, and make sure that these sort of issues do not happen again in the future, because we are one of the wealthiest festivals in the world and there's just no excuse for it at this point. If the glitch does happen, fix it quicker. Fix it quicker. Like a couple minutes. You know, that is just my personal critique. If you go to Coachella, you are more than likely going to have an amazing time. I'm Smiles Davis, DJ, producer, music curator. Love talking about music and culture. Subscribe to my channel. Double like this video if you like what you see.